Hello, welcome to Chat UTD. In this video, I'm going to talk about the proposal of a brand new stadium for Man United. It was announced 2 weeks ago now, I think, that there has been a task force put in place to look at redevelopment of not just Old Trafford but the local area. Regeneration is a word that's been used a lot, modernisation, and I think reading between the lines, the preferred option of Sir Jim Ratcliffe is that the stadium is knocked down and rebuilt either on the same site or close to the same site, or maybe even further away, but I think it's probably on the same site. I said a while ago my preference is that we redevelop what's there, as in repair, modernise and work on maybe one stand at a time. I don't know how feasible that is, but that would be my preference. Because of the history and the emotional attachment to Old Trafford. My first reaction to that news a couple of weeks ago was one of anger, not because something doesn't need to be done, because obviously it does, but the fact that it's been allowed to happen, the fact it needs to happen in the first place. In 2005, we had the best stadium in the country, and no significant finance has been put in by the Glazers to the club, which is why it's in the state that it's in now. So to someone who is ignorant to the situation, if you said, right, this club's a big club, they earn a lot of money every year, the owners haven't put a penny into the stadium for 19 years, they've neglected it, and now it's in a state where it either needs to be repaired, let's say, and modernised, or completely knocked down and built again. A layman might say, well, if they haven't spent any money over 19 years, they must be sat on a lot of money that they can use for that then. That's not the way it works with the Glazers, as we know. So the double kicker is, not only have they allowed our stadium to rot, they've also skinted the club to such a degree that there's no money there to repair the damage that they have done. You add into that the fact that they're sat on £1.3 billion, which has just been given to them from Sir Jim Ratcliffe for a stake in that club. That's not money to do with anything else other than Manchester United. They've got that in regard to Manchester United. So the owners of the club are sat on £1.3 billion, and that club is looking at local councils and government funding and dressing it up as regeneration of the area rather than spend their own money when the owners of that club are sat on £1.3 billion. It is an absolute joke. And the whole situation is scandalous and a metaphor for everything that the Glazers have done to our club. That's why I'm angry about it, because nothing's been done to remove them from the club. That's the third kicker. They're still there. They're still the owners. And this is not about football moves on, times change, you can't be sentimental. If even general upkeep had been overseen over the last 19 years, Old Trafford would be fine. Didn't even need a lot of money, probably, relatively, compared to what we bring in. It just needed some thought and a bit of finance. Every 2-3 years, just do a little bit here or there, it'd have been fine. So Sunderland needed to leave Roker Park to go to the Stadium of Light, Derby County from the baseball ground to Pride Park, Borough from Ayresome Park to the Riverside, City from Main Road to the Council House. We had the best stadium in the world not that long ago. This isn't about modernisation, this is about neglect. And the blame lays firmly and solely at the door of the Glazer family. I think if you said something, if you got an audience with them, which you never would, and put all those points to them, particularly the £1.3 billion thing, they'd go, well, why should we spend that on the stadium? Not our responsibility to do that. They don't see that they have any responsibility towards United. They blatantly use us as a cash cow. There's not even, they don't even try and pretend it's anything different. There's no investment. There's no emotional investment. As I said a few videos ago, they are they're opportunists, but they're also benefactors. That's all they are. They're not owners. It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. And I see more people bothered about, shall we redevelop it, or should we get a brand new spanking stadium for us to sit in with all shiny things, and we have a lovely area where we can go for a pint before and after the game. That's all people seem to be asked about. And what's done is done. We can't change it. In many respects, no point in getting angry about it, but I have to just own that feeling and share it, because I think it's something that is fair enough that I would be angry about that, and I think most United fans would be. For me personally, my connection to that stadium, that area, everything that's Man United. That's, down the years, the images I see of it, even when I see them, just like when I see the Busby Babes, when I see the images of Old Trafford, it's like that's my stadium. The Busby Babes, that's my team. Even long before I was born, my first memory of going there with my dad, and my mum pulling up on the forecourt, and we got out of my mum's car, and it was a surprise. I didn't know we were going to Old Trafford until the very last minute, and you wouldn't even be allowed to do that now, pull up on the forecourt, but just getting out of the car and just being in complete awe and wonder, looking at it, thinking this was 1988. It wasn't even that great to look at probably back then compared to more modern times, but it was like, oh my God, look at this place. And I remember the smells, and I remember the sights, and I remember the sounds. It is and always has been a spiritual experience to me to go to Old Trafford. Some people have religions where they go to church, fair play to them. My religion, not wanting to sound corny, is United, and that's the cathedral, that's the church, that's where you go and worship, basically. And it gives me goosebumps pretty much most times when I go there. It's been affected by the way I feel about the club, has affected my relationship probably with the stadium over recent years. But actually, if you take away the Glazers and you take away all the crap that they've done to the club, that stadium is our stadium, and it means an awful lot. And the day that is taken away from us is a day when the part of the club dies and you won't get it back. And some clubs needed to do that to survive. We shouldn't be in this position. Don't let anybody kid you that we should. Yeah, it's a tragedy. And again, I think about back to when I was a kid, and when I first started going, we could get in on the turnstiles and play football on a Saturday morning, and then we'd have a bacon sandwich, and my dad would say, "Do you fancy going to Old Trafford today?" Yeah, and we'd go and we'd park near where all the car showrooms are, and we'd park there and give someone a couple of quid to look after my dad's car and walk down there. And everyone's got their own memories. Mine are no more special than anybody else's, but it's just wonderful, wonderful times, and that's my connection to the club. That's our stadium. We saw it on Sunday rocking, and it was a throwback. And I'm sure if they produced a performance like that in a new stadium, it would be great, but it's a travesty that it's happening. It shouldn't be happening. So my response to a task force being put together is, so brilliant. You're knocking my stadium down that I've loved for the last 36 years. Great. I was sad when the Stretford end got knocked down and was made all-seater. That was a bloody tragedy. So this is different gravy. And if ever there's a reason to remember why we shouldn't be complacent about getting the Glazers out of our club, and there's multiple reasons, but this is a massive, great crack in the face reason. On that, Glazers out.